We each have a story we tell ourselves about our lives. As we move along through our experiences, we begin to identify with those experiences as being a part of us. The subconscious mind then endeavors to keep us consistent with the definitions we've created. And it does that by repeating the same story over and over again within us. Sometimes we hear this story within our internal mental chatter, and sometimes it just runs unnoticed in the background. And we often tell our story to others, keeping them rooted as a part of our reality. These stories express what we believe about ourselves and life's inner workings. We stick to them because they are always running in our mental programs, which in turn continuously creates our same patterns, emotional responses, and the same results. Everything we do, have, achieve, or don't achieve is in response to the story we tell ourselves. The way we think, feel, and act always aligns with our personal story. And sometimes our stories rob us of our ability to move towards our goals. If you want your life to change, it's imperative that you create a new story. You do this by beginning to tell the story of how you want your life to be, and then continuously repeat it to yourself over and over again until you begin to believe it's true. This is what creates a shift in our thinking, emotions, and behaviors. Even if it feels like you're lying to yourself at first, it's important to realize that all of those parts of you that have been rehearsing the old story only need a little more time to adjust to the new one. As you repeat this story to yourself, you will begin to see how it starts to shift your automatic thinking and behaviors and move you towards new success. For a powerful way to create a new story and impress your subconscious mind with it, following is a process you can use a few times per week until you begin to realize that you are fully embodying that story without much conscious effort at all. Allow yourself to get into a relaxed position. Take a few deep breaths, and then begin to imagine you are in a beautiful outdoor scene. Make this scene something you love. It can be any place you choose, real or made up. It might be a beach, or somewhere in the mountains, or a wooded area with a waterfall. It's completely your choice. Choose whatever form of nature makes you feel calm and relaxed. Keep visualizing this place and noticing all of the details of it until you feel peaceful and centered. Once you have achieved this feeling, I want you to notice that there are 2 chairs just slightly off in the distance. These chairs are facing each other, and in one of them, you can see another person sitting. The other chair is empty. In your mind, begin to walk over to these chairs in your peaceful scene. And as you do, notice how the person who is already sitting is beginning to come into focus. This person seems familiar. You can recognize the shape of their face and many of their mannerisms. And as you get within just a few feet of the chairs, you can see that the person sitting in the chair is you. But not exactly the you that you are today. This you is just a year or 2 older, and he or she is the ideal version of you that you are working on becoming. You can see all of the qualities in this you that match what you look like when you imagine having your perfect life. And you can see how happy and confident this you is because of that. Mentally walk over to the empty chair and have a seat in it, facing this version of yourself, and then spend a few moments asking him or her questions about their story. Ask for any wisdom or knowledge they might be able to share with you. Ask how they overcame any challenges you might be currently facing, and which outdated beliefs they let go of in order to reach this point in life. What makes them feel proud and rewarded? What types of new habits has this you developed? What is it about their story that excites you? When going through this part of the process, you can take as long as you need to have all of your questions answered. And after you've had this conversation with this version of you, just envision him or her kindly telling you goodbye and walking away. Next, move into the seat that this you was occupying. While you are sitting in this seat, notice that someone is walking towards you. As this person gets closer, you begin to focus on them and realize that this is a version of you from the past, from just a few years ago. And as they sit in the chair you were in before, take a look at this past self and begin to examine their story. What was your life like then? What is this you experiencing? What challenges have you overcome since being this version of yourself? What questions does this you have about changing their life to match the one you currently have? Is there anything from this time that might have seemed as though you would never move past it? And are you able to see now how you changed your story and the course of your life? And maybe even how it was easier to move past things you thought you would never move past than you originally thought. Take a few moments to reassure this you that these challenges that you have now overcome will work out for them. And talk with this you about what you've just learned from your future self so they can progress much more quickly. During this part of the process, take as long as you need to have this conversation in full. And then as you are in this state, gazing at the past version of yourself, I want you to fast forward time in your mind so that you are the future version of yourself that you were previously speaking with, and that the person sitting across from you is today's version of you. Imagine the clock of time speeding up and sending you into the embodiment of that future you. You are now living the life you choose and viewing the other you from a position where you have already overcome any old stories you once told yourself that didn't line up with that life. You've already solved all of those challenges. The you in the other chair is asking all of the questions that you previously asked the future version of yourself. Except this time you have the answers to those questions and can give them freely with absolute truth and confidence. You've already solved any challenges the other you is facing and can give them the story and answers of how to do that easily. During this part of the process, take as long as you need to establish the fact that you have fast-forwarded time and that you are in this position. And once you have given this version of yourself all of the knowledge and wisdom they need, I want you to visualize that both of your chairs and bodies are becoming semi-transparent, as if someone has turned down the dial on the color, and you can almost see through yourself and through them. Take a few moments to get this in mind. And once you have this image in mind, visualize the two chairs and bodies moving together and becoming one. As you do this, feel yourself merging with the other version of you. And in doing so, see and feel the color becoming restored to full capacity. As this color is restored and becoming brighter and brighter, you can actually feel those colors within you. It's a more excited, happy, confident, and successful feeling. And just sit with these feelings for as long as you wish. In this way, you are removing time and merging the two yous into one integrated you who has all of the answers to the new story you're going to create from this moment forward. Take as long as you need to do this. Once you have completed this visualization, grab a pen and paper or a notebook and write down all of the wisdom and knowledge you have learned through this process. Put on paper what was meaningful to you about this experience as you fully associated with the future version of yourself who has all of the answers. From those answers, write down the new story that you are going to begin telling yourself, using as much detail as possible. You may also realize that you remember more parts of this story throughout the following days. And as you do, add them to your new script you are going to write for your life. And then read that script to yourself daily out loud, once in the morning and once in the evening just before bed. You may also choose to do it other times during the day. You can also go through this process as many times as you choose to get more answers so that you can perfect your story even further. Life is a perception, a mental journey, and our stories can either encage us or free us. When we explore the inner workings of our storyline, rewriting a new story becomes much more effortless, and we can consciously begin to design our next chapter and all of the ones that follow.